So I'm going to add this to Friday's video because I'm getting really sick of this weather. It has started to snow again because this was not on the ground when I got home this morning. None of it was. It wasn't snowing. It was just starting to melt, get a little bit nicer out, and now it's snowing again. So yeah, this is lovely. So looks like I'll be doing some movie reviews more than likely next week because this weather is absolutely ridiculous. So just before we get into today's review, I just wanted to say that these movies were voted for 50-50 on my Instagram polls for today. So I'm actually going to do them both. So this one will be coming up next for you guys. I have seen both these movies before, and I just wanted to also say that I just saw this at Max Milk last night, and it's actually really, really good. A lot of people say it tastes like 7-Up, but I think it tastes quite different from 7-Up. But I had to try it after I seen the Super Bowl commercial with about it with Morgan Freeman in it, because I love Morgan Freeman, and I thought, ooh, that's kind of a good ad technique. Anyway, so I wanted to give that a shot. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the let's roll the intro, sorry, and get into this review. So the first review of today was the Crazies. I almost didn't make it through this movie the first time I watched it, but I was a lot younger then, and not into scary movies as much as I am now. But this movie is really good. It's about a small town, Ogden Marsh, in Ohio, that seems like a quiet and pretty quiet and desolate town. It only has just roughly over 1,000 people in it. It's a very small community, so basically everybody's friends, and people slowly start going crazy, and they're not quite sure why, but then they find out that it's from the water source, and I guess one guy said that he heard a plane crash a few days ago, and then they end up finding out that it was a biological weapon that was released to destroy communities, but it was just released into the wrong one. And the military has to come in and quarantine the entire city, and basically divide the infected and uninfected people. And they think that David's wife, Judy, is infected, even though she's just pregnant, and that's why she has a fever. And the... Oh god, how does it go? The deputy and the sheriff are best friends in this movie, and he goes back to... the sheriff goes back to save his wife after she's been separated from him, and they go through quite a bit in this movie, because it starts out with one guy coming out with a loaded shotgun onto the baseball field, and he points it at the sheriff, and the sheriff has to shoot him, and then they end up at one point in the movie, when they go back to their house, they end up running into the other part of the guys that he shot family, and they've already gone completely insane, and they try to kill his wife and him. Luckily, they make it out of there alive, but then his best friend ends up starting to go crazy himself, and he realizes that, so he makes sure that they can get across the military barricade, and basically risks his own life so that they can make it, because that's his one final gift to them. Favorite scenes in this movie would probably be where he goes into the funeral home and has to fight the I guess they call them morticians, yeah. And almost ends up getting chopped up to pieces, basically. And another one of my favorite scenes would be where they are in the diner. So as I was saying, one of my favorite scenes was when they're in the diner and they run into the hunters, again, that ended up finding the dead pilot, I would say, that parachuted down into the trees and ends up looking like looking really, really infected, because that's what happens to these people as they progress. The crazier they get, the more infected they look, because they're actually being infected by this bioweapon that the military engineered to wipe out small communities, right? The second case of it was, and Judy is a doctor in this movie. That's David's wife, so Timothy Olyphant's character. She's a doctor, and I think it's a daughter and son check their father in, and it might be his wife too, wife and son, or daughter and son. I don't really know. It doesn't really say. So anyway, he starts going crazy, and then burns either his wife and son or his daughter and son alive in the house, and he makes it out alive. And this is just when the outbreak has started. And then they put him in a jail cell, and that's when you first find out that the military is watching them, I believe, is when that happens. Or that it might have been actually on the baseball diamond, I think, is when you find out that the military is actually watching them. And then they're kind of like analyzing the situation as to when to put the town into containment. Anyway, they end up trying to get a transport for him, but the military blocks all cell reception, internet connection, phone lines, anything, and they actually come into the town and take pictures of the people slowly going crazy. This was a really well done movie. The director was George A. Romero, I do believe, if I'm correct on that. If I'm not, then comment down below who the director was, because I'm not entirely sure, but I think that was it. So I don't know what other work he's done, but it's from the creator of Dawn of the Dead, so I'm assuming he had something to do with that as well. So I would say that his work is really good, because I've seen Dawn of the Dead and I love that movie as well. So, yeah. It kind of, at the end, so basically they contain the disease as best as they can, but then the military pulls out because there's an outbreak that's too much for them to contain, and too many people going crazy too fast, even though it's such a small, tight-knit community, right? So these guys break into the containment zone and start shooting, and all chaos breaks loose. The infected people escape, and because they think that Judy is sick with her, because she has a fever, that's what they're checking for in these people that are going crazy. And she gets tied to a table as this guy is going around with a pitchfork, killing all the people on the, I would guess I would say operating tables, basically is what they are. So yeah, she, luckily, her husband, David, and the deputy just make it just in the nick of time to kill the guy before she dies. And then they escape. And the first scene where they run into the hunters is on the road, and you're not really sure at this point who's crazy and who's not, but you can kind of tell a little bit with the hunters, but you're not really too sure, because they did actually help out in the beginning, right? And you think maybe they're just killing the infected people, but turns out they were infected themselves, because they run into them again in the diner and have to kill them as well before they escape. And at the end of the movie, there's a bomb dropped on Ogden Marsh, and it blows up the entire town. And then they go to a different part in Iowa, David and Judy, and it shows that automatically that part of Iowa is going to be in containment as well, because they believe that those two people are infected, so they've been following them the entire time anyway. The car wash scene was definitely my favorite, where the one girl that was with them thinks she sees somebody, and then the car wash turns on, and they can't see what's coming at them or when. And she ends up dying because one of the crazy people wraps a hose around her neck and pulls her out of the car, and she gets hanged. So anyway, right before the scene in the car wash, they're being chased by a helicopter, and that's why they pull into the car wash. And they get out of the car and go back to see if the girl's alive, but she ends up being dead. So they leave her there, but it's lucky that they got out of the car because the helicopter actually comes back around and blows up their vehicle. So they end up having to walk most of the way. And then as they're walking down the road, they realize that his best friend's starting to go crazy. And that's the whole scene where he decides to take his own life. And I think I've pretty much explained the rest of the movie as well, too. So I would rate this movie a 5 out of 5. I would definitely recommend it to go watch it if you're into scary movies. Even if you're not. If it doesn't make you jump once or twice, it's really not that scary. It's more of a comedy. And this movie definitely will make you jump, certainly the first time you see it. Some of these scenes even made me jump the second time, so I think this is only the second time I've seen it anyway, but I had to grab it up because it was a really good movie. And I love the cover of the movie, and I'm not sure if there's anything too special on the inside. No, I guess it's just basically the same as the cover. So that is the movie, and that is my rating, 5 out of 5. And then this one will be next for you guys today, and then I'm going to try to bring a vlog for tomorrow, and then Sunday will be the Taken series. So there'll be actually 3 reviews on Sunday. So that's going to be a busy night/day for me on Saturday night. And then that's it for this weekend, and I have a couple new polls up on my Instagram, so as always, link to my Instagram account below, so go check those out. I have a poll for February 19th and a poll for February 20th because I've already done all next week because I'm going to do a vlog for Monday as well, so I'm going to get that done. And the Brookie video is coming to you guys tomorrow because I've set that up, so get that done as well, finally. And that's everything, so thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.